Okay, a little video on making end pieces. Started out with 1.5 inch stock and I ran it through a planer. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I've got the dado set up 3/4 inch wide. I'm going to do a center cut 3/4 inch wide by 3/8 inch deep for the bottom bars. That's the first cut I'm going to make. I do it as the whole block. Then I slice off the pieces later on. So, and I will show you each step. This is the first step. The block is already sized, squared. Dado is set, the height. So here we go. Use a little block behind it so it don't get tear out. Go slow. Turn it around, run it through again just to make sure it's centered. Bottom bar fits right in. Okay, next house set up. Using the same 3/4. I'll cut the other end 7/8 inch wide. Okay, I've adjusted the fence and the depth of the cut to give me what I need, which is approximately 7/16 inch deep, 7/8 inch wide dado, and top side. We'll cut this and then go to the next step. Do the same thing. Slow. Flip it around. Okay, take the top bar. Check our fit. Fits like a glove. Okay, the next step what we have to do is create the B space. Now this is, I guess, could be optional. I know some people make them just straight down, but just trying to duplicate what the plans called for. And by the way, the plans are available on bsource.com. But anyway, we're going to create the B space, and the B space is 3/16 inch on each one. So when you put two of them together, it creates a 3/8 B space between the frames for the bees to get around easier. Like I said, it's an optional thing. You don't have to do it. I do it. The way I do it by nibbling out with the dado blade set at 3/16. I take 3/4 inch off at a time. The first cut I make is 3.5 inches. This edge of the blade, 3.5 inches from the end of the. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm creating this cut right here. And then I'll nibble out the rest of the way down, flip it over, do the same thing. Line it up, just keep nibbling. space is notched. Alright? And you flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. And one last thing I like to do on the B space is to angle, put a little bevel here, just so it's not sharp like it is on this side of this. I already did a test cut on this side. Just so it's not sharp. You slide them back in, you don't catch a bee and rip them in half. This gives them a little bit of leeway. So what we'll do is you tip the blade 45 degrees, set the height to the same height as the B space. Run it along the fence with the miter gauge, holding it firmly on the thick part, running it through, and there you go. It's your B space. You might have to clean it up with a little bit, but it looks good. Now the B space is rough. You could sand it. You could throw a belt sander on it if you want. Bees won't matter. They don't care. Gives them something better to grip on. They'll coat it with propolis and everything anyway. So there's your finished blank. Now it's just a matter of setting it to 3/8 and making 3/8 inch cuts. And then we'll do that next. Okay, now the last step is to slice it into 3/8 inch thick end bars. And here we go. Saw is set up. And I'll use my trusty push block. Gotta make sure you keep the weight towards the back. Keep it flat. Test it on its out bar. It's perfect. You just keep running them through and you saw off the whole block. Incidentally, this block I made, I took actually 3 2x4s and glued them up because I didn't have anything wider. I like to use something wide, but 2x12, 2x10 minimum. Also, 2x12s and 2x10s are very, very difficult to find that aren't yellow pine. Yellow pine can be brittle and harder to work with than the white pine. 2x6s, you can take 2 2x6 pieces and glue them together to give you a nice, long, wide face to work with. You can make more of them at one time. Finish cutting this up, and then the next step will be the assembly.